Hi, it's Steve from PartSelect. Today we're going to show you how to change the evaporator fan motor on your refrigerator. It's a really easy job. All you need is a 1/4-inch nut driver, a 1/4-inch ratchet with a 1/4-inch socket, and a small flat blade screwdriver. Let me show you how we do it. Now, because this repair requires working near electrical circuits, we will have to disconnect the power to the refrigerator, so simply pull the plug on it. We'll next start with opening the freezer door and removing any items on the top shelf, in the ice bin, or on any of these two shelves. We'll then remove that shelf, unsnap it from the right hand side, pull it to the right, and remove it. We'll lift up on the ice bin and pull it forward and remove it. We'll also remove the top shelf, just lift up on it, slide it out. Now next we'll want to remove the cover below the auger motor. Just press down on it, unhook the tabs, tilt it forward, and then remove the two tabs on the bottom that slide into the slots on top of the evaporator fan cover. We'll next remove 3 screws that hold that auger motor assembly in place. Next, we'll just lift up slightly on that auger motor, and be careful, it is fairly heavy, and pull it out far enough to disconnect the wire harness that goes up to the ice maker. You may need a flat blade screwdriver to disengage the locking tabs. Just pull them out to the side. And pop that plug off. Now if you lower that motor down enough, you'll have access to the wire harness at the back, and again it has locking tabs on it, so squeeze those together and disconnect it. Pull that assembly out and we can set that aside. Next we'll take the light cover off, just pull out on the bottom of it and then gently push upwards. Disengage it from the hooks on the top. That'll expose 2 1/4-inch hex head screws that hold the evaporator fan motor cover in place. There's also 2 more keyhole slots up at the top, so we need to loosen those 2 top ones and remove the 2 bottom ones. And the top one on the left-hand side is a little harder to access, so you may need to use the 1/4-inch ratchet with a 1/4-inch socket on it. You just reach up in there and loosen it a few turns. And we'll lift out on the bottom of the cover and push in and up, disengage it from those upper screws. You can slide that right out of the compartment and set that aside. Okay. Next we're going to remove 2 screws on the bottom that go through the evaporator cover, and then we'll loosen 2 more screws that are on the top of the evaporator fan motor assembly. You can disconnect the harness through the motor assembly. Just depress the locking tabs and pull the harness straight back. Now we can lift that whole assembly out. And now we can do the repair. Now that we have the evaporator fan motor assembly on a suitable work surface, we'll begin the repair by removing the fan blade. So just grasp the motor from inside and then pull straight out on the blade. We'll set that aside. And we'll tilt this up, and you'll notice there's 2 1/4-inch hex head screws that secure the bracket on the back of the motor to the bracket on the front. So we'll remove those 2 screws. And lift that rear bracket along with the rubber bushing away from the motor and set that aside. And we can pull the motor through the front bracket. And we have to tilt that a bit to get the shaft to come through. Remove the spacer from the front. Now if your model is equipped with a light socket in that harness, you will need to cut these wires and splice them. So I suggest cutting them fairly close to the motor. When we cut these wires, we want to make sure that we'll leave enough length so they have room to strip the ends of them and crimp on some butt splice connectors. We'll remove the old motor, set that aside, and then strip back about 3/8 of an inch of the insulation from each of these wires. We can twist the strands of those wires a little tighter, makes them easier to fit into the splice connectors. We'll take those connectors and install one end of them on each of these wires. Make sure the wire is fully inserted into the connector and crimp them tight. Check each of them to make sure that they are on there good and tight. Next, we'll take the new motor and we'll leave an appropriate amount of harness to attach to the existing harness, and we'll cut these ones as well. And again, we'll strip back about 3/8 of an inch wire from each of those. And again, we'll twist the strands of wire on those so that they're nice and tight. Then we'll connect each of them individually. Position our crimper on each individual terminal. They're color matched. because these are in a relatively moist environment, we will want to wrap them in some electrical tape to help keep the moisture out of those connections. So make a tight wrap of electrical tape around all of the connectors. And once we've got those spliced connectors taped up and secure, we'll reinsert the motor through the front rubber bushing. We'll slide on that front bushing so it's flush with the little rubber bushing on the motor mount. We'll take the rear motor mount, set that in place, replace the 2 1/4-inch hex head screws. Make sure they're both secure, that you have enough room for the motor to move a little bit. Then while grasping the motor, we'll reinstall the fan blade. And we're ready to put the assembly back into the refrigerator. Now we're ready to put the assembly back in place. We want to make sure that we engage those 2 slotted holes in behind the evaporator cover. Slide the whole assembly straight in, tilt it down into place. Engage the 2 keyhole slots at the back over the 2 1/4-inch screws. Slide it down into place. And remember to reconnect the wire harness. And make sure both locking tabs are engaged. Just give it a little tug to make sure. Reinstall the 2 screws on the bottom. Tighten the 2 on the top. Next we'll install the fan cover. Slide that straight in underneath the brackets for the auger motor, and then make sure it pulls forward enough that we clear the 2 screws at the very top. We've engaged those 2 screws through the keyhole slots and slide it down into place. We'll install the 2 bottom screws. And we'll tighten the 2 top screws. Now we're ready to reinstall the auger motor assembly. We'll start by connecting the wire harness to the rear. Make sure the locking tabs on the harness connector engage solidly. And we'll connect the harness to the top of the assembly. And we'll lift the whole assembly into place. Now ready to secure it with the 3 1/4-inch screws. Now install the deflector on the bottom. We'll engage these two tabs on the second slot up on the evaporator fan cover, and then just tilt the deflector back into place. We'll next install the upper shelf. Engage it in the top track. Next we'll install the ice bin. Make sure it's engaged fully. Replace any shelves that we removed. Now we're ready to reconnect power to the refrigerator, and our repair is complete. Told you it was an easy job. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your repair.